it's Katie from Katie's Corner. I wanted to give you some quick tips on driving in Ireland. So, first, you drive on the left side of the road. For me as an American, this is very different, and it's really crazy how your brain does not automatically shift and understand the distance you have between the front of the car and the left side. Where usually if you're driving on the right side of the road, you just automatically know you have so much distance on the right side of the line, a wall, whatever it is. There were some definitely close calls, and my husband and I took turns driving all through Ireland, and we just finally started saying curb. So anytime we thought we were getting too close, the other person that was the passenger would just yell curb. So that we still do it to this day. But anyway, so keep that in mind. You're driving on the left side of the road, and it is just different. You're also on the other side of the car, so your brain just takes time to transfer. We got an automatic vehicle. We paid extra. We both know how to drive a manual, a stick shift, but we did not want to be dealing with that and learning how to drive on the opposite side of the road, as well as we just didn't want to take that chance of having to do that. Plus, I know there's a lot of hills and gaps and all kinds of stuff like that in Ireland, and I don't want to have to remember how to drive a stick shift trying to go up or down a hill, I guess mostly up a hill, and stalling out. So you may want to splurge and get an automatic vehicle. Also, let's see, be prepared for very narrow roads. When I say narrow, they are sidewalk width in some places. Literally your car can fit on it, and it's a two-way street. So this is very nerve-wracking when you're trying to drive. Basically, the larger vehicle wins. So that means the other person needs to pull over at one of the pull-offs, because there are quite a few of those. That might mean backing down a hill or up a hill and around bends. It's just the way it goes. Example, we were in the Gap of Dunlow, and I came around a bend, and there was a horse trailer and truck coming very quickly at us. They were the bigger vehicle, so I had to back my way in a curvy, hilly area until I could get off the road so he could go by. So it is dangerous if you're not careful. We rarely went the speed limit unless we were on a true interstate, because the hills, the slopes, there's no guardrails. And so that was just an interesting vibe whenever you're trying to figure out what you're doing and on the wrong side of the road. Although when it's a narrow road, there is no side of the road, it's one side. Roundabouts. They are very common. Really learn how they work. They are not just one lane roundabouts. You could have 2-3 lanes. People from not in America, they probably are a little bit more used to this. However, roundabouts seem to just be becoming a thing in the US. Again, learn how to do them, especially going the opposite direction because you're in a different side of the road. We only one time ended up on the wrong side of the road. My husband was driving this time, and he took the wrong exit. It wasn't really an exit. He went into what would be oncoming traffic. Thankfully, nobody was there. Obviously, he wouldn't have probably done it had there been somebody there. But there were pedestrians, and it surprised them to see a car coming from that direction. We were able to go over the median. It's one of the few medians that we actually came across. But anyway, literally went across it. So we still tease him to this day about that. Let's see, rent a smaller car. Initially, I thought I was going to get a bigger van, because there was 4 of us with all of our luggage, and we're all kind of tall, big people. And I read more and more things about this. Do not get a big vehicle if you can help it. The roads are very narrow. The turns are very sharp, especially if you come across a tour bus. They win, so you will have to back it up or move out of the way. There are some places where you're barely missing the cliffs. So you don't want to damage a vehicle. Smaller vehicle for sure. Parking smaller vehicles is easier. So whatever you can afford as far as the space that you need, get a smaller vehicle, which also means you really should pack less because you can't fit a lot in a small vehicle. Lastly, watch out for sheep and cattle. You will encounter them on your road because when you're driving, sometimes you'll all of a sudden end up in what looks like a field or somebody's driveway. It is truly just a road, but there could be sheep wandering around and herders, and we even saw cattle drives. So just be aware that you may come across literally sheep and or cattle in your drive, and it could be what is considered a major road. One thing we did learn is that the reason that some of the roads are very windy and narrow, they paved them not in the last 25 years, since the early 2000s they started paving these roads to get from one town to the next. So they followed the paths that the sheep would take, is what we were told. I did not verify this, but I thought that was a very interesting fact. That's why the roads are kind of the way they are. They followed the paths that were already created versus trying to create full new roads. So I hope this helps you if you are going to Ireland and are thinking about driving. I would 100% do it again. A lot of people say don't drive there or just take public transportation or take a tour. We drove for about 16 days, literally all around the island, Northern Ireland and UK Republic. So I would do it again. It was a lot of fun. It was nerve-wracking. Just know, take your time, add about 20% to whatever time Google says, add at least 20% extra time, and you'll be fine. Hope this helps.